New York was full of monsters. Anyone who makes a sound will be killed, so the whole city is silent. No one dares to make a sound, but this woman risked her life just to get a pizza. Sam is terminally ill. She lives in a nursing home in the suburbs, a home full of fellow patients. On this day, they sat together and shared their experiences, and they inspired each other. After sharing, her friend Ruben invited her to a play in the city, even though she wasn't interested. But Ruben said she could pick up her favorite pizza on the way, so she took her cat Frodo and got on a bus to the city. Then they arrived at the theater. After the show, Sam grabbed Frodo and went to get pizza. Ruben got a call from the nursing home. They asked them to return immediately. Sam became upset. She was about to eat her favorite pizza and couldn't think of anything more important. They argued for a while, but finally Sam gave in, so they boarded the bus for the return trip. Just as the bus started up, Sam noticed that all the passengers were looking up at the sky. Countless meteorites were streaking across the sky. Unfortunately, the bus was hit by one of them. The smoke from the impact quickly engulfed the bus. Sam had to step off the bus slowly. At this point, she doesn't know what's happening. All she could see was smoke, so she had to feel her way. Seeing a man being dragged into the fog, she got scared and ran away. A soldier told her to find shelter before she knew it. He's also grabbed by the monster and taken to the sky. Sam hid behind a car. In the mist, she finally got a good look at the monster. She rushed to escape, but then an ambulance exploded. Then she was knocked unconscious. When she woke up, she tried to cough, but immediately, someone covered her mouth. He made a gesture of silence. They were in a theater. There were a lot of people who had survived, although many of them were injured and frightened, but they were surprisingly quiet. Sam noticed that Ruben was there. They hugged each other tightly. Luckily, Frodo was unharmed. It turns out the city was attacked by monsters. They recognized their targets by sound and kill them. And then the military radio came on, telling survivors to keep their voices quiet and wait patiently for help. But the sound of the radio alerted the monsters. Frodo, frightened, runs away from Sam's arms. She rushes to catch up, but steps on broken glass. The noise immediately attracted the monster's attention. Luckily, the sound was too faint. The monster didn't find them. Just when she hadn't let her guard down, Frodo accidentally touched the bell again. The helicopter outside attracted the monster. That's how they escaped. After a quick wipe down, Sam followed the group to the roof to see what was going on. In the sky, several fighter jets were attacking the city's bridge. In order to stop the onslaught of the monsters, the military had to blow up the bridge. After understanding the situation, they went to a room to rest. Sam decided to eat the last pizza of her life, although Ruben tried to discourage her, but Sam's mind was made up. Suddenly, the power went out at the airport. The backup generator roars to life. Ruben rushes to shut it down before the monster arrives. But just as he did, he accidentally scratched his shirt. And that's how Ruben was taken by the monster. The next morning, Sam left the theater with Frodo. After going to the store to find some necessities, she then went to a fountain. Under the cover of running water, she opened a can of cat food, and inadvertently, she found two children hiding under the fountain, so she gave them some food. At that moment, a military helicopter radioed all the survivors to go to the pier and wait for help, because they had discovered the monster's fear of water. Then Sam took them to the underground passage and waited quietly for the monster to whiz by. When the monster was gone, they returned to the ground. The streets were filled with people rushing to the docks. Sam whispered to the boy to take his sister and follow the crowd. Then she headed in the opposite direction. With so many people fleeing, the slightest noise attracts the attention of the creatures. In the panic, Frodo frightened and run away. Sam crawled under a car to escape, but a man pulls her down by her feet just when Sam didn't know what to do. The man was captured by the monster, but Sam's feet were crushed by the car. After a violent struggle, she was able to climb out and rushed into an alley, where she found Frodo that had escaped. She brought along a man named Eric. Sam told Eric to follow the crowd, but he insisted on following her. Then it started to rain. On the way, Sam again urged Eric to go to the pier. Eric agreed verbally, but he didn't move his feet. Sam could feel the fear in his heart, so she let him go on. As the night wore on, they arrived at Sam's old apartment, under the cover of thunder. They let go of the emotions that had been pent up for so long. The next morning, while Eric was still asleep, Sam tried to leave with Frodo. She hoped Eric would escape to the docks and be rescued, but Eric woke up and found her. As Sam was getting up, she accidentally dropped some books. The noise attracted the monster. They quickly fled to a nearby building, but the revolving door was jammed by a suitcase. Eric pushed the door as hard as he could. The loud crash of the suitcase echoed through the building. They escape to a subway station, planning to escape through another exit. Unfortunately, it's already guarded by the monster. They have no choice but to jump into the flooded tracks. But as they proceeded, they noticed a monster resting overhead. They tried to sneak underneath it, but the nervous Eric made a noise. Luckily, the monster couldn't swim. It was actually drowned. Then they climbed out of the water and fled to a church. Due to the long hours of flight, Sam was suffering from a terminal illness, so Eric went to the drugstore alone to look for medicine. Suddenly, there was a noise that scared Eric, but it was Frodo that followed. After finding the medicine, on the way back, they accidentally discovered the monster's lair. Luckily, Eric escaped with Frodo in his arms. Back at the church, he put a painkiller on Sam. Sam told him she wanted to go to a pizzeria for pizza because her father used to play next to it when he was alive, and every time he played, he would take her there for pizza. It's not really the pizza she wants. She just wanted to remember her father. This was her last wish, so Eric granted her request. Early the next morning, they arrived at the pizzeria, but it was in ruins. Sam was depressed. Then she went to the bar where her father used to work. Eric settled her down and went out alone to find her a pizza. He soon found a pizzeria that hadn't been damaged. Then he came to Sam with a pizza. Two lonely people eating their cold pizzas in silence. And then Eric excitedly picked up the cards and began to do a magic trick for Sam. At that moment, they seemed to forget all their fears and illnesses. Then they climbed to the roof and saw the lifeboats in the river filled with survivors. Sam looked at Eric. She knew she was dying of a terminal illness, so she was determined to get Eric on the lifeboat. She threw her sweater over Eric, saying her final goodbyes to him. They made their way to the shore and found a shelter. Then Sam handed Frodo to Eric. She picked up a crowbar and smashed a car window. Eric took the opportunity to escape to the harbor. He accidentally kicked a jar on the ground. The monsters were lured back. And then Eric was lucky to get on the boat. Sam couldn't stop crying when she saw Eric saved. Then she went back to the pizzeria, touching the picture with her father. On the other side, Eric found a letter in his pocket.
Thank you for bringing me home. Thank you for helping me live again. I'd forgotten how the city sings. You can hear it when you're quiet.